Reporting for duty, the one and only Michael Irvin, the Hall of Famer and playmaker, stop on by for his weekly conversation. For the first time in a long time, we know what the playoffs are officially starting to look like. And it's going to be 49ers and Seattle that gets us all underway at 1:30 on Fox on Saturday. 49ers and Seahawks tapped to be that first game. Michael, I don't know if you ever were that first game up in a wild card weekend. Do you want to be the first team up? Do you want to be the first game to go off? Or would you rather sit back and sort of get a little bit more time, maybe watch it play out a little bit? What do you think about there getting the Houston Texans Memorial starting time slot?
Hey, first of all, especially when you have gotten it down and broken down to your third quarterback during the course of that season, you'll take any slot. Any slot they got. Any slot they got. You're like, okay, what slot it is? The fact that I got a slot is something. But of course, that's not even the case with San Francisco. So, you jump out and you take that first slot. Because it's so funny because, I was rooting against Green Bay last night just because I've been saying I don't think Green Bay's going to make the playoffs. You can't start that bad, have a 5-game losing streak, and then get it all together. The NFL's too hard. And then I had capitulated and said, okay, they look like they're on a run. Maybe I would have to accept I was wrong. But then tomorrow I'm going to say, just because you got in the playoff, what is the prize? You get to go to San Francisco. Is that really a prize? Do you really want that? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, they probably wanted that premier matchup of Green Bay and San Fran. I don't know if they give it a different time slot or not, but that's a more premier matchup. But Green Bay couldn't get it done, and Seattle snuck right over in there and got it. And what's funny now, I think Seattle gives you a tougher game than even Green Bay would have given you.
Familiarity. Obviously, it's all over this matchup. And Pete Carroll, he's in the playoffs every single time you look up, basically, over his last 13 years. He's been to the postseason 10 times as head coach of Seattle. And even though the 49ers have controlled the series this year by winning both games, Michael, the man knows football. It's just that simple. Pete Carroll understands playoff football implicitly, and I do think there's something to it. Like, it feels like the lesser of two evils because Green Bay's defense got a little bit better, and they got a quarterback who's going to go right to the Hall of Fame when he decides to wrap up his career. Would you rather face that or Geno Smith in Seattle? Geno Smith in Seattle feels like the right answer, but as you're saying, it may not be the easier game.
It feels like the right answer now, but early on in the season, you thought, oh my God, bring me in Rodgers. When they were going through this 5-game losing streak and all of this, and couldn't get on the same page with his receivers, but they did get something going late in the season. They did get something going late in the season, but came up short. But when you're playing another division opponent, those are always the toughest games, man. They're always at bar none. They're always the hardest game. There is no getting around that. You got to get ready to swap spit. That's what we used to say. Swap spit. You're going to be right up in there, right up on each other. They're going to be spit going because it's going to be face mask to face mask, and it's going to be physical. And Seattle, I think, gives you a more physical game.
They give a more physical game, but one of the things that they've struggled with this year is defending against the run. Is that something that you look at when you try to figure out, what team in the postseason ought to beat what other team? Is it just matchups from over the regular season, or do you sort of view football as a more artistic thing and you can spot, who hits harder and, less things that are less statistical and more sort of feel?
No. I don't. I'm not a numbers guy onto that matter. I may use the number to prove up the point that I've seen, but I'm not going to use a number to make a point or let it be the barometer of why I'm making a point. Oh, well, this guy, because numbers are skewed, and they get skewed. You can say Dak Prescott threw 15 interceptions, tied most in the NFL. He missed 5 games. But Dak Prescott also had put up a offense 35 points a game. You know, you hear him Phillips tied for most interceptions. You say he tied for most interceptions. If I stayed on that narrative, you say, wow, he must be one of the worst quarterbacks in the year in the league. You know, but he also put up 35 points. So I can use the numbers to prove the point, but I can't let the numbers prove my point. I can't use the numbers as the base to prove a point, to make a point. That's how you do with numbers. And also, D, it's too much on there. It's too much. And I always say this to people: our sport is different now. Yeah, our sport is different. So now it's not just your skill; it's also your will. You know, it's man-to-man, hand-to-hand combat. Your will counts. So now when you're going up against a division opponent who they feel like, oh, we should know them better, we play against them, they want more come. You know what I mean? They get a little more will. Even if they have a little less skill, they have a little more will because they see you twice a year, and he's going to fight you a little longer because he knows he has to see you again. That's why I say you can get a more physical game.
Michael Irvin here on Damon and Ratto. So Brock Purdy officially becomes the first quarterback in team history to win his first 5 NFL starts. He is the third rookie in NFL history to win at least his first 5 starts. And since he has come into the job, he has basically opened up seasons for George Kittle and Brandon Aiyuk that I don't know if they have if Purdy doesn't come through in the last 6 games of the year. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey feels like the skeleton key that has unlocked this team's offense maybe more than anyone else. When you watch Brock Purdy, do you see him now for what he is? Do you still see him for what he might not be? What are the incompletes as you look at him with your own naked eye? And do those give you enough pause to say they can't be Super Bowl champions just because of who he is and where he is in his career?
Right. And see, I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that. First of all, when I'm even breaking down a player or quarterback, I'm really looking at, first, let me see your strengths. You know, because we can see the strengths and say these are realities. These are realities. We can come up with concepts of, okay, this is a weakness. This is a weakness, but is it really a weakness? Tom Brady's arm strength. Okay, they're going to mark that down as a weakness. But is it really a weakness? When he played the game because of his arm strength, he said, okay, I'm going to play my game inside out. Peyton Manning had pretty good arm strength. He played his game outside in. And the best way to attack anything is really inside out. So Tom Brady, really, you called it a weakness, but it wasn't a weakness because he knew how to manifest and magnify his gift of playing inside out to the tune of 7 Super Bowls. Oh, he can't throw that out route all the way out there on a dime and on a rope. He can't spin it like that. He spent off 7 rings. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes when we start judging off weaknesses, we fall short because we don't see the totality of what some men can accomplish with what you call a weakness and he called a focal point of his game.
Of the 6 games this weekend, which is the one that you would break a date with your family to watch, and which is one you would avoid at all costs?
Boy, that's a good one, man. Let's go through these, man. That's a good one right there. I don't know that there's anyone I would avoid at all costs, but there's some with such intrigue to it. Like, you know, and not the Cowboys, but you're going to watch that Cowboys, especially since they both teams are stumbling into the playoffs. Now, in this Tom Brady we just talked about, you're going to those kind of games you're going to watch. There are too many storylines beyond fandom that's around it. You know what I'm saying? There's too many storylines beyond fandom. Now, what would you try? Minnesota Giants? Would you pull off that? I'm trying to give you one that I know I know you're gonna watch, and one that you could possibly end up pulling off. You know what I'm saying? Right? Would you pull off Minnesota and the Giants out of the NFC side?
It feels like, I mean, that feels like a game you could learn about after the fact, because do you think either of those teams are really going to be a Super Bowl champion or even in the Super Bowl representing the NFC, I'd be shocked. So maybe that's easily dismissed.
They got some stars. They got star power. Like Justin Jefferson's a star. The Giants has a big market. You know what I'm saying? Such a big market, and you know all the Giants fans going to watch, and all the Jets fans that got so close and didn't do it again. They go so it's still going to be, you know. And I'm measuring off ratings. Ratings, you know, what can you sit down? But I don't know if you can sit down any one of these games.
I mean, maybe if you really wanted to get into it, you can. If there's no Lamar, I give the Ravens no shot against the Bengals.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But I want to see what the hell is going on over there because, and I said this on TV today, guys. This is what's on my mind when I see Harbaugh gets up there and says he has no information about Lamar, and I remember, dude, when a quarterback gets hurt, man, I'm bringing people in the locker room on this. There is no he just get treatment when he's at the facility. They send people home with you. I mean, they're people, when you come out the shower, when you finish eating, when you put on your socks, they're trying to give you treatment. They don't let these people leave you. And it's amazing that Harbaugh has little information. Does it mean they don't have somebody at Lamar's house with an ice bucket and a heat pad and STEM units giving him treatment all day around the clock? That's what they usually do. That scares me if it's not happening.
Is that the least believable lie that you will hear this week?
That he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I hope it's a lie. I hope it's a lie, and I hope it's just gamesmanship. I hope because I love Lamar. I hope Lamar didn't get in the season and then saying, you know, I understand he's hurt. You know what I mean? You don't go. But one time Stephen A. said, well, if I'm Lamar, I'll go right before the game and just say I ain't playing. I said, no, you can't do that, buddy. I don't mind you arguing with the state, arguing with the office, get your money. But once you come into camp, now you're not committed to me. You see what I'm saying? Now we all committed to each other. That's breaking player rules right there. That's breaking. You can't do that. So if you want to stay out, stay out. But if you come in, don't just walk out on me when we made the commitment. So it's just so much in there. I hope it's gamesmanship and not the latter.
Michael Irvin here on 95.7 The Game. What did it mean to you to break 1,000 yards as a receiver? What do you think it means to Brandon Aiyuk?
You know what? Let me tell you something, man. Honestly, it meant everything because that's what every young receiver is looking for, his first 1,000. His first 1,000. And I talk about it all the time, guys. I talk about the power of shoulders up and the head and all of that and the focus and the confidence. That's exactly what it gives you. I belong now. You get 1,000 yards, you believe you belong. You're one of the good receivers in the National Football League. That's a great accomplishment for Brandon Aiyuk, and I guarantee you it means a great deal to him.
As you look at 49ers Seahawks.
Forget it, guys. I'm only coming back to it because I remember once I got my first 1,000, I couldn't wait to get my training, my little card. You know, your little football card, because guys going to have 1,000 yards on it. I ain't, you know, hey, boy, you get that card, and it had 1,000 yards on it. Oh, now that's something, buddy. That's all I'm going to say. That was something.
By the way, that first 1,000-yard season for you in 91, 15-23, 93 catches. You were cooking, man.
Went off, man. And that was on the year coming off a year where, you know, I just came back from the knee because I had ACL in my second year. And there were people saying, I don't know if he wasn't that fast before, and I don't know if he has the speed now to play in the game. And we got Noah Turner, and Noah Turner is still that confident. He said, man, you got plenty of speed. That's the first thing he said to me. We went out, and I was I'm in shock. He said, man, you got plenty of speed. We don't want to hear what these people said. Man, let's get ready to rock. He said, we're about to rock this season. I said, oh, God, I got to somebody. And that was, and we took off from there.
Do you have any concern about since we're talking about passing games, this is an exemplary defense, obviously. Fans are a little bit worried about Diamador Lenore, who is getting picked on week after week. And the way I've been looking at it is, it is the job of other quarterbacks and offensive coordinators to find the weak spot. And it's no disservice to Diamador Lenore to say he's the weakest link on this defense. There are a lot of NFL starters who would be the weakest link on this defense. I mean, they got studs everywhere, so he's getting picked on. Is that a concern for you?
Well, and let me tell you, yes and no. Not over there. Over here it is. You're still getting to the quarterback. You see what I'm saying? I can win in the passing game on one or two ways. I can win on the front end or the back end. Now, on the front end, you're still winning. So that's going to make it plausible to deal with the weak link, or whatever you want to call them a weak link. I understand the way you described it. If you want to call them the link that they will go after on that defense, then that's one thing, because, yeah, you're going to get them sometimes, but you won't get them all the time, because there's 11 of us out here, and we still going to get to the quarterback before you can get to that one sometimes. But now in Dallas, since we lost Anthony Brown, that has been a horrific link that on that other side of Trayvon Diggs, and they've been attacking it, and it looks worse. That's a great. I should have brought that up on TV today. You know, because I talked about the weak link that picking on one side, and I should have used that as an example.
By the way, I mean, how many people will never be as good at their job when they're the weak link as Diamador Lenore is at his job as the weak link? Right. I mean, it's
and I don't know, that's just not the right term for this situation.
Right.
We got to pick up some other.
I wish I were the weak link on the 49ers defense. Right. That'd be a great place to be operating from.
You would be.
I would be, absolutely. With my foot speed and hip swivel, it'd be terrible. Since we're talking,
no bad thing. I would be too. Right now, I would be too.
Michael, let me wrap up with this, and then I'll give Ray the last question today. Since we're talking defense, if you had to cast your vote for NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and I know you got love for Micah Parsons, would you still give it to Bosa?
Yeah, Bosa snatched that, though. I mean, and it's not even. I don't know. The question would be, who would ever be second? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mike Parsons has really slowed down, and I was just talking to them, and they were saying they're trying to make sure you get him back on track, to make sure he holds his contained, because he's been going after them sacks too. You know what I'm saying? So don't think they don't see that competition on the one side. But no, Bosa has earned it. He's the clear defensive MVP. I don't even know who rivals that. Who's the closest, and I don't know who's ever gotten the most votes, but I'm sure he'll be up there this year.
You referred earlier to the fact that, you know, it's always hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. Based on that, what is Seattle's best chance of beating San Francisco on Saturday outside of an injury or a ton of turnovers? How does Seattle get this done if they can?
It's San Fran. It's not something that Seattle can really do. I think it give them their best chance. I think it's what San Fran can do that gives them their best. They give Seattle the best chance. You can feel like this is not even a fight, and you walk and slip up in there. And that's what happened to us when we played Arizona, and we had been beating them and beating up on them forever. And Arizona won their first playoff game in 50 years against us after we have been beating them forever. We walked in like it was a real done deal. And by the time you really realized you were in a hell of a fight, it was too late to pull out. And that's the only way San Fran loses.
By the way, they're about to kick off a national title game. You giving TCU a puncher's chance tonight against Georgia?
My godson, Gannon Goubert, we narrowed it down. SMU, at TCU, as teams on his docket. We narrowed it down. I got him over to TCU, and TCU's having this kind of year. One of his best boys that played with him at Highland Park went over to SMU, wanting to go, and he's looking at him saying, man, I can't believe you playing a national championship game. Absolutely, I believe they got a shot at winning this. Because they can put up 25, they can put up 30, 40 points easily. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. And it's always great when we know we got a David and Goliath story. And that's what this is. Georgia going for a back-to-back. Georgia and Alabama. They've been Goliath over everybody for so long. TCU coming in with David. And all they need is three smooth stones to catch them between the eyes.
I wonder what kind of odds you would have gotten in a bar bet saying, in the state of Texas, like I bet TCU wins a national title before the Longhorns do or before the Aggies do. Somebody has that bet alive in Texas with incredible odds going for them tonight. If it actually happens, it would be unbelievable. Michael, thank you as always. It's great to catch up with you, man. The fun really officially starts now that we're in the NFL's postseason. We'll talk to you again next week. Win, lose, or draw.
Yes, sir, buddy. The fun starts now. Oh, my God. If they going to see, I can't wait, man. All right, but I can't wait. We got Super Saturday, Super Sunday, Super Weekend, whatever they call it. But it's going to be great.
And, we got the Cowboys going on Monday night. Well, that means we get to preview Cowboys with you on Monday before it kicks off, if we do talk to you next Wednesday. All right, man. There it is. Michael Irvin, thank you so very much here on 95.7 The Game.